Hello everyone. It's great to see you again on the Smart Kitchen 86 channel. Have you ever bought a bunch of very fresh dill, only to find that after just a few days in the refrigerator, the rest had wilted, turned yellow, and lost its aroma? In today's video, I will share with you 5 simple and convenient ways to store dill, from keeping it fresh in the refrigerator to freezing it for longer use. Especially, don't miss the final method. I will show you how to turn leftover dill into fragrant and convenient dill powder that can be used in many dishes. Now let's get started. Before storing the dill, there is one very important step that you should not skip. When you bring the dill home, untie the bunch and carefully inspect each sprig. Any leaves that have turned yellow, become bruised, soft and limp, or show signs of spoilage should be removed immediately. Just a few damaged parts can increase the moisture and cause the rest to lose quality more quickly. Next, cut off the roots and any old, tough stems if there are any. Which country are you watching this video from? I'm always very happy to see that we can connect with each other from so many places around the world. Place the dill in a bowl of clean water. Because dill leaves are very small and delicate, you do not need to rub or scrub them hard. Just gently swish them in the water so that the dirt, sand, and debris can come loose. If the dill is quite dirty, you can change the water and wash it 1 or 2 more times until the water is clean. After washing, here is the step I especially want you to pay attention to: dry the dill very thoroughly. Place the dill on a clean towel or several layers of paper towels and gently blot away the water. Then let the dill rest for a little while longer so that the remaining water on the leaves can evaporate. The less moisture there is on the surface of the dill, the better it will be for the storage methods that follow. Now we come to the first method. Keeping dill in a jar of water. Prepare a clean jar or glass. Pour a small amount of water into the bottom of the jar, only about 1 to 2 finger widths deep. Take the drained bunch of dill and place it in the jar so that the ends of the stems are in contact with the water, while the leaves remain completely above it. If the bunch is too large, I recommend dividing it into 2 smaller bunches. Doing this will give the sprigs more space and keep them from being pressed too tightly together. Now prepare another larger jar or glass. Turn this larger jar upside down over the outside of the bunch of dill. It creates a small protective layer around the dill, helping to reduce the cold airflow in the refrigerator that can quickly dry out the delicate leaves. Place the whole arrangement in the refrigerator. Whenever you need to use some dill, simply lift the outer jar, take the amount you need, and then cover it again. Keep an eye on the water at the bottom. If the water starts to become cloudy or develop sediment, replace it with clean water. This method is suitable if you use dill frequently and want to take out whole, attractive sprigs to use each day. Method 2. Storing whole sprigs with paper towels in a sealed container. Prepare a clean and completely dry food storage container. Line the bottom of the container with 1 or 2 layers of dry paper towels. Now gently arrange the dill sprigs inside. Do not pack too much dill into one container. Dill leaves are quite delicate, and if they are pressed too tightly, they can easily become bruised and retain too much moisture. If you have a lot of dill, you can place another thin layer of paper towel in the middle and then continue arranging the dill on top. Finally, cover the top with another layer of dry paper towel and close the lid. The paper towels are not meant to dry a bunch of dill that is still wet. The dill still needs to be thoroughly drained before being placed in the container. The paper only helps absorb the excess moisture that forms during storage. Place the container in the refrigerator, preferably in the crisper drawer. Over the next few days, open the container occasionally and check the dill. If the paper becomes too damp, replace it with new, dry paper towels. If you notice a few sprigs beginning to turn yellow or become soft, remove them. When taking out the dill, remember to use clean, dry hands. Even a small amount of water from your hands or a wet utensil can increase the moisture inside the container. Method 3. Chopping the dill and freezing it. Place the dill that has already been washed and thoroughly dried on a cutting board. Use a sharp knife to chop it. You do not need to chop it too finely. Simply cut it into a suitable size so that you can take it out and use it immediately when cooking. If the stems are still tender, soft, and fragrant, you can absolutely chop them together with the leaves. Any old, tough stems should be discarded. After chopping, place the dill in a freezer bag or a container with a tightly fitting lid. If you use a zip-top bag, spread the dill into a relatively thin layer and press out some of the air before sealing the bag. One small tip that I really like is to divide the dill into small portions, with each portion being just enough for one cooking session. This way, you will not have to take the entire amount of dill out of the freezer each time you use it. Place the bag in the freezer. When cooking, you do not need to thaw the dill first. Simply take out the amount of dill you need and add it directly to soup, fish dishes, eggs, potatoes, or hot sauces. After freezing, dill leaves will no longer retain the same firmness and appearance as when they were fresh. Therefore, I do not recommend using them to garnish salads that need attractive-looking leaves. But for hot dishes, this method is extremely convenient. Method 4. Making dill cubes in an ice cube tray. This method is especially suitable if you often make soups, sauces, or stews. After the dill has been washed, dried, and chopped, divide it among the compartments of an ice cube tray. Do not pack the compartments too full. Place a moderate amount in each one, about the amount you would normally use for one dish. Now pour a little clean water into each compartment, just enough to cover the dill. Use a spoon to gently press the dill down so that the leaves stay under the water. Place the tray in the freezer until completely frozen. Once the cubes are solid, you can remove them from the tray and transfer them to a freezer bag or a sealed container. This frees up the ice cube tray and also protects the dill cubes better in the freezer. Whenever you make soup, broth, fish dishes, or hot sauces, simply take out one cube and add it directly to the pot. The ice will melt and the dill will blend into the dish. If you often cook when you are busy, this method can save quite a lot of time because the dill has already been washed, chopped, and divided into portions. Method 5. Making homemade dill powder. To make the powder, I usually prioritize the leaves and tender tips that are still green and attractive. The tender stems can still be used for soups or broths, so you do not need to throw them away. The dill has already been washed, and make sure that it is thoroughly dry. This is very important. Spread the dill in a thin layer in the basket or tray of the air fryer. Do not pile it up too thickly. The hot air needs space to circulate through the leaves. If your air fryer has a dehydrate or dry mode, use that mode and choose a low temperature that is appropriate according to the instructions for your appliance. What is more important is to observe the condition of the leaves. During the drying process, check them regularly and gently stir or turn the leaves so that they dry evenly. Different air fryers have different power levels and airflow, so I do not recommend relying entirely on one fixed drying time. Continue drying until the leaves are completely dry and become crisp. When gently crushed between your fingertips, the leaves should crumble easily. If the leaves are still soft or flexible, it means there is still moisture inside and you need to dry them longer. Once the desired level of dryness has been reached, remove the dill and let it cool completely. Do not put the dill into a jar while it is still warm, because the remaining heat can create condensation inside the jar. Once the leaves have cooled, you have two options. If you want to preserve the aroma better, you can keep the leaves whole and dry, then crumble them each time you use them. But today we are making dill powder, so I will place the dried leaves in a blender. Blend for a few seconds. Open the lid, check it, and blend again if you want a finer powder. Look at this green color and aroma. From just one bunch of dill that might have wilted and had to be thrown away if left in the refrigerator, we now have a very convenient jar of seasoning. Close the lid tightly and store it in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight as well as heat from the stove. Dill powder can be used in many different dishes. You can sprinkle a little over potatoes, eggs, fish dishes, soups, sauces, roasted vegetables, or mix it into cream sauces. Because dried herbs have a more concentrated flavor than fresh herbs, Start with a small amount and then adjust according to your taste. Which method do you like best? And where you live, what dishes is dill usually used for? Fish, potatoes, soup, eggs, or a special dish from your country? Please share with me in the comments. I would really like to know. If today's tips are helpful to you, do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the Smart Kitchen 86 channel so that we can continue exploring more food storage tips and simple ways to make work in the kitchen easier. Thank you very much for watching the video. See you in the next video.